good day to you from the studio of your digital First Pan-African Television Network, TOS TV Network. It feels good to be back here. My name is Ruo Panao, and I'm actually wondering, what have you been up to all week? Because I've been working so hard to keep you plugged today. But before we actually go on, let's take a moment of silence in honor of a veteran and first civilian governor of Lagos State, Lateef Jakande. Do rest in peace, sir. So, on to my gist. Help me out here. I've been pondering over this all week. The question is Africa's democracy more of continuity than change? Chill, there's just. So the Democracy Index of 2020 shows that Africa is more of dictatorship than democracy. And this leads me to my first story for today. In Chad, President Idriss Déby's bid for sixth term provokes angry protests. As expected, police in Chad fired tear gas and made several arrests as hundreds protested against President Idriss Déby's nomination on Saturday to run for a sixth term in power after, wait for it, 30 years in power. Now, Déby, who is 68 and has obviously been catching cruise since he was 38, came to power in a 1990 rebellion, pushed through a new constitution in 2018 that reinstated term limits but will let him stay in power until 2033. His opponents accused him of crippling the country's institutions in a bid to hold on to power, obviously. The protest follows the announcement that the ruling Patriotic Salvation Movement Party had backed Déby's bid for a sixth term in office. Did you hear that? Sixth term. Accepting the nomination, Déby said, "The people's confidence has a sacred value for me." I feel like that's how it will sound. That's just how I feel. Anyway, Déby took the title of Field Marshal last August and said he responded favorably to this call of the people after a mature and deep contemplation. Since his rule, Déby had been accused of appointing relatives and cronies to key positions and failing to address the poverty that afflicts many of Chad's 13 million people, despite oil wealth. So somebody from Chad can meet you and say, "Oh no, we are not broke, we are just poor." The country ranks 187th out of 189 in the UN's Human Development Index. Here's another one. After 36 years in power, Congo's president seeks fourth-term re-election in March. The authorities in Congo-Brazzaville have submitted the names of 8 presidential aspirants, okay, to the Constitutional Court for validation, okay, ahead of the March 21 election, okay. What is not okay is that the 77-year-old Sassou Nguesso is seeking a fourth term. He has been in power since 1979, except for a 5-year period after losing elections in 1992. So Baba just went to take a break. In 2015, the country staged a referendum on removing a 70-year age limit and a ban on presidents serving more than 2 terms. The move paved the way for Sassou Nguesso to secure a third term in elections in March 2016 that were marred by bloodshed. Why? Like, why must Africa's election come with violence? Should we change the name of our continent to Violence Bus Stop? Because I'm confused. Anyway, it's quite the opposite in Somalia. Somalia is a country where 4 years is considered a long term because no president has ever won a second term in office since 2012 when Somalia became a federal republic. So opposition leaders in Somalia say they no longer recognize President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed after his term expired without any political agreement on a path towards elections to replace him. So we can say he walked out. Anyway, indirect elections were supposed to hold before February 8th, but the deadline was missed. There were squabbles, central government and federal states failed to break a deadlock over how to proceed with the votes. Anyway, the presidential term has ended and the president is no longer recognized as president. Now, that says a lot about politics in Africa. My next story is from South Africa and it's in relation to the COVID-19 vaccine. So South Africa calls off vaccine rollouts on doubts over AstraZeneca jab. Here's the full gist. South Africa has put its rollout of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine on hold after a study showed disappointing results against its COVID variants. Now, scientists say the variant accounts for 90% of new COVID cases in South Africa. So I guess that reaction was expected. The trial, which involved about 2,000 people, found that the vaccine offered minimal protection against mild and moderate cases. But experts are hopeful that the vaccine will still be effective at preventing severe cases. And South Africa has recorded almost 1.5 million coronavirus cases and more than 46,000 deaths since the pandemic began. That is a higher toll than any other country on the continent. The country has received 1 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca jab and was preparing to start vaccinating people.
There are discussions going on Sputnik, Sputnik V. There are discussions going on the Sinopharm. The department and the Ministerial Advisory Committee are dealing with that. There are discussions that are going on with Moderna, and we will also need to explore on Novavax, because that one had not been much of discussion.
This is actually a major setback for the global fight against the pandemic, because many poorer nations were relying on the transport and storage advantages offered by the AstraZeneca shot. And here's why. Unlike the rival Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, they require super cold conditions, but AstraZeneca's can be stored in a domestic fridge. So anyway, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has urged people to keep faith in the coronavirus vaccines after studies suggested that the Oxford AstraZeneca jab may be less effective at preventing mild cases of the variant first detected in South Africa.
We're very confident in all the vaccines that we're using, and I think it's important for people to bear in mind that all of them we think are effective in delivering a high degree of protection against serious illness and death, which is the most important thing. We'll be continuing to study the results, the effectiveness of the vaccine rollout, and that's going very, very fast indeed. And we'll be looking at the ways in which the population is starting to respond to the vaccines as we prepare to say what we're going to do in the week of the 22nd and what kind of roadmap we want to lay out. We also think, in particular in the case of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, that there's good evidence that it is stopping transmission as well. I think 67% reduction in transmission with the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. So they remain of a massive benefit to our country and to the population as we go through the pandemic. The most important thing is that the vaccinologists, the scientists, are getting ever faster and more expert in coming up with the new vaccines and the variants of the vaccines, if you like, that enable us to defeat the virus. So yes, we're doing everything we can to contain new variants, but we're also increasingly confident, as I say, that science, medicine is gaining the upper hand over coronavirus and all.
He's actually confident in the Oxford vaccine, regardless of what happened. So after March, South Africa's COVID vaccination is to use Johnson & Johnson. South Africa's Health Minister, Zweli Nzike, announced this Wednesday that South Africa's planned coronavirus vaccination campaign will be launched with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine instead of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, whose effectiveness is currently being questioned. The Johnson & Johnson has proven more effective, actually. It has. A new Ebola case had been detected in Eastern DRC. According to an announcement by the Health Ministry that came nearly 3 months after the DRC declared an end to its 11th Ebola outbreak, a new case of the Ebola virus had been detected in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo near the city of Butembo, and the infected person has died. So a woman was found with symptoms of the deadly Ebola virus in the town of Biena on February 1, and she died in hospital in Butembo on February 3rd. She was married to a man who had contracted the virus in a previous outbreak. So the provincial response team is already hard at work. It will be supported by the national response team, which will visit Butembo shortly, according to the statement that was given. The announcement potentially marks the start of Congo's 12th Ebola outbreak since the virus was discovered near the Ebola River in 1976, more than double any other country. The emergence of more cases could complicate efforts to eradicate COVID-19, which has affected 23,600 people and killed 681 people in Democratic Republic of Congo. A vaccination campaign is expected to start in the first half of this year. My heart actually goes out to DRC. I hope everything works out. And in Nigeria, there's more gists. You know, children are the future of tomorrow, right? So the Council for Arts DG, Runsewe, has urged parents to guide their children, and he says Bobrisky is a nuisance to Nigerian, African values and is misleading other youths. He cited the lifestyle of Lagos-based crossdresser Okuneye Idris Olarewaju, popularly known as Bobrisky, and Mr. Runsewe said Bobrisky had constituted a nuisance to Nigerian and African values, and he was misleading other youths due to a lack of true African values in him. According to him, the 29-year-old social media personality is nothing but, calm down, a disgrace and a disgust to Nigeria and should not be allowed to continue with his fake life. So Olusegun Runsewe called on parents to instill African cultures and values in their children and words to make them become responsible adults. He admonished parents to always provide guidance to their children to make sure they won't live lifestyles that would negate African cultures and values in marriage, procreation, moral decency, and respect for elders. Mr. Runsewe gave the advice while speaking with correspondents of the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, on Sunday in Abuja. I mean, what can I say? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he actually will not depart from it. There's more gist still in Nigeria, and do you know that an unmarried female police officer who gets pregnant shall be discharged from the police force? Now, Ms. Olajide, a constable attached to Iye Ekiti Police Division, Ekiti State Police Command, was dismissed on January 20, 2021 for allegedly violating Section 127 of the Police Act with her pregnancy. First of all, why is there a section like that? So, Omolola Olajide has filed a suit praying for an order reinstating her to the police force. The Nigerian Police Force, the Inspector General of Police, and the Police Service Commission are sued in the suits as the three defendants. She contends through her lawyer, Fumi Falana, that her purported dismissal by the defendants was discriminatory and a violation of the various provisions of the Nigerian Constitution and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The Ekiti state government has similarly filed a suit at the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti, describing Section 127 of the Police Act, which was cited by police authorities in dismissing Ms. Olajide as discriminatory and unconstitutional. The suit, which was filed on behalf of the state government by its Attorney General, Wale Fakbohunda, seeks an order nullifying the said Section 127 of the Police Act. Seriously, I had to think this is discriminatory. I mean, since we're using marriage as the benchmark, what happens to the police officers who impregnate ladies out of wedlock? I join her in prayers, and this is a good fight. On to our next gist. Nigerians plan to occupy Lekki Toll Gate. Lekki Toll Gate, of course, has not been operational since October 2020. So Nigerians on social media have planned another protest to express their displeasure over the decision of the Lagos State Judicial Panel to allow Lekki Concession Company to reopen the Lekki Toll Gate. The panel of inquiry set up to look at the Lekki shooting incident on Saturday approved the reopening of the toll gates, and there was a countdown. I hope this protest starts and ends peacefully, or doesn't even start at all. Still more on EndSARS news, court ordered CBN to unfreeze 20 EndSARS protesters' bank accounts. So the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday ordered the Central Bank of Nigeria to unfreeze the accounts of 20 EndSARS campaigners targeted by the Apex Bank after last year's anti-police brutality demonstrations. The judge, Ahmed Mohammed, issued the order on freezing the accounts after the legal teams of both the CBN and the 20 defendants decided to end the case on Wednesday. The judge commended the two lawyers for their commitment to ensure justice after they announced their decision to withdraw all pending applications and the entire suit. Meanwhile, no protests will be allowed at Lekki Toll Gate, according to the police. Hakeem Ojumosu, the Lagos Commissioner of Police, has warned on Thursday that the command will resist any planned protest in the state. Although the right to peaceful gathering and assembly is a right enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, the police in Lagos have said that no protests will be allowed to hold in the state on Saturday, as police mounted heavy security for Lekki Toll Gate. The police in Lagos on Friday embarked on a show of force across major areas to the state ahead of the protest planned to hold at Lekki Toll Gate. today. The Senate summoned Emefiele, CBN Governor, and the Director General of the Security and Exchange Commission, Lamido Yuguda, to explain the ban on cryptocurrency. So this invitation came about a week after the CBN directed banks in the country to close all cryptocurrency-related accounts, prohibiting financial institutions from facilitating crypto payments in the country. I gave you the gist last week now. The decision to invite the duo was sequel to a motion titled CBN's decision to stop financing institutions from transacting in cryptocurrencies, which was sponsored by Plateau Senator Stephanus Gyang and Adetokunbo Abiru, APC Lagos. So next week is already looking juicy for the crypto family. Now, speaking of world record breaking, our own Blessing Okagbare announced an entry into Guinness Book of Records. Blessing Okagbare, she's Nigeria's athletic legend, announced her entry into the Guinness Book of Records. Last weekend, she set 2 new personal indoor records at the Doyle Sports Management meeting. She won an Olympic silver medal at the 2008 Games as a 19-year-old in the long jump. She has also won a World Championship silver and is the current African record holder in the 200 meters and in the 4x200 meters with the Nigerian team. Okagbare is seeking a 4th Olympic Games participation with the Nigerian team in Tokyo in July. Dear sister girl, we are so proud of you. Permit me to scream. Our Fela Kuti has been nominated for 2021 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a museum and hall of fame located in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States on the shore of Lake Erie. I know you're probably thinking, oh, is it Nigeria? No, dear, no. The museum documents the history of rock music and the artists, producers, engineers, and other notable figures who have influenced its development. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has just announced their 2021 nominees, and it includes the late Afrobeat legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Our legendary singer is appearing on the list for the first time. Can I scream again? That's it for the week. That's it for the week. Thank you so much for staying with us through the Saturday Plug. On that note, it's a wrap. I trust we've got a date next week Saturday, same place, same time. Remember to follow us on social media at TOS TV Network. My name is Ruel Panao. Bye for now.
Audio Jungle.